How much silver should you own? That's a question we get all the time. Should you be very scared about what's going on right now in the US economy? We're going to give you some startling information that might just have something to do with your job and what is going on in the world that can tell us that we're in for brighter days for the silver price and the gold price. You're in the right place because today we're joined by our good friend, Coin Shop Chris. We're going to talk about first, how much silver should you own? Do we have a definitive answer for you? You're going to find out. Chris, welcome to Ron's Basement.
Ron, it's always good to be back in the basement week after week. I love your channel. I love your viewers. I just like to take a moment to ask everybody to like, share, and subscribe. We're trying to get to 34,000 subscribers by February 14th. So let's show Ron some love. And I like to also put a warning out there for people, Ron. Be careful of the crypto bots in the chat. We tried to, our mods do an awesome job trying to get those out as quick as they come in. Please don't fall for the scammers in the chats. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Chris. And you know, you're a real important guy. I'm pretty important myself, but the most important person is the person who's joining us today, right now. They might be in their living room. Heck, they might even be in their basement. But one thing we know for sure, they're wondering, do I own enough silver? Do I own enough gold? What's the exact amount of silver down to the half ounce, Chris, that a person should own?
Ron, nobody in this world can answer that question for everybody out there. Some people say stack your weight. Some people say stack, this, stack that. I say, me personally, if you can well afford to do so, 10 to 15% out of every paycheck set on the side for precious metals. And if you can't, go down for that, because everybody's lifestyle is different, Ron. Your lifestyle will make it different than my lifestyle. The viewers may be different than ours. Stack what you can afford. Don't worry about anyone else's stack. That's the bottom line. Really.
Yeah. Another way to look at it too is if a person does have a lot of disposable income, right? This rich person joining us right now, maybe accumulate like a year's worth of expenses worth of precious metals. Figure out what you spend on an annual basis and maybe save like a year or 6 months. Whatever. I think what it comes down to is whatever someone feels comfortable with. The one big warning that I want to give people, though, is don't go into debt. Don't buy silver. Don't think that it's such an urgent matter that if you don't have spare cash that you like buy it on your credit card or go into any type of debt to buy silver, gold, or any precious metal for that matter.
Well, look at it this way, Ron. I got customers who come into the shop who can't really afford that much. They come in by a couple dimes, a couple quarters on a weekly, 90% silver dimes, 90% silver quarters on a weekly basis. That's all they can afford, which is fine. They're stacking something. They're putting something away. So there's all types of different price range people can afford to have at one time or buy at one time or convert at one time. Let's use the right word here. But really, I really get on these other YouTubers who show their whole stack run. I don't think that's a good move. I think that's saying people out there saying, I'm never going to be like that person. Well, you're probably right. But, as long as you have, 6 to 18 months, I go with 18 months long for expenses. Some people may not even be able to get to that point, but it's okay. Because most of us don't have dollars now. We're living paycheck to paycheck.
Right. And you probably don't want to put all your money into precious metals. I'm a pretty not diversified person. I have a lot of money in mining stocks, and I would recommend that people not put all their money into precious metals. I'm not giving financial advice. I'm just giving my opinion. I would recommend that before anyone stacks precious metals, that they take a good hard look at what their debt situation is. Because if you have debt, car debt, house debt, even, especially credit card debt outstanding, I would focus on getting that paid off first before I would focus on increasing the size of the stack. I mean, nobody knows what's going to happen, right? A year from now, we could be sitting here, Chris, with a big smile on our face with $85 silver, right? And it would have been a good move to borrow money to buy silver. But the opposite of that can happen as well. If a person has debt, and continues to buy silver and the silver price goes down, well, guess what? That debt doesn't go away, but the value of the silver can go down. I don't think silver is going down, but it absolutely could.
Yes, Ron, it could, but in what terms? In the dollar form? We're looking this in the dollar form, but it's still, excuse me, at the end of the day, it's still an ounce of silver, no matter what the price is. So,
Right,
I
but
mean,
what I'm saying is, though, the debt, if you're carrying debt while you're still stacking silver, you're basically using borrowed money to buy silver. That's that's a financial fact.
yeah, and that can be a financial nightmare too. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, debt is, there's that old saying, debt is the currency of slaves. Silver is the currency of gentlemen, and gold is the currency of royalty, or the money of royalty, however you want to say it. You want to get rid of that debt first. This is not a financial planning show, but I understand mathematics and accounting very well, and I know that to be the case. And then from there, I mean, if a person has no debt, right, which is a wonderful place to be. I've always been hated debt. Well, then you can really do whatever you want. You could put a lot more of your money into metals if that's what you believe, because you don't have any debt. You don't have any risk. You have this solid foundation that you've built where you don't have any debt. And from there, you can pile on whatever you want, some silver, some gold, some mining stocks, other investment opportunities. But anyway, somehow this turned into a discussion that wasn't supposed to be about debt. But, eliminating debt, I would say, would be the number one thing people should do. And then number two, sure, stack all you want after that. Fortuna Silver Mines is a global intermediate gold and silver producer. Since 2005, Fortuna's best-in-class management has delivered impressive growth and profits. Fortuna's solid financial position and operational expertise allows for performance in any precious metals price cycle and provides a foundation from which to harvest great profits in more favorable metals markets. Investing in Fortuna is an investment in quality, long-term, sustainable production of in-demand precious and base metals.
And, another thing you need to look at too, Ron, is, you've said this multiple times on your show, don't convert fiat into silver or gold if you're going to need it 6 months, 8 months down the road.
Yes.
I mean, if you're going to have something coming up and you need the cash for it now, don't use that cash to go buy silver and gold now. Could that be the wrong move now?
Yeah, I appreciate you bringing that up, Chris. Thank you, because that's a great point. Like, okay, I have no debt. I'll divulge that to our audience. I've been debt free since I was probably 26 years old. Right, zero debt. I hate debt. When I buy silver now, I buy it with this mindset that I'm never going to sell it. Like, I use money that I'm cool with just sitting on this, like, in my mind, envisioning like at some point it could be passed on to my children, and that they'll be very happy. It's like security or something. I don't know. It's hard to say.
And that gets into my next point, Ron. Like you said, you're training your girls about silver and gold. And if you are going to pass it down to family or grandkids or your kids, make sure they know what the thing is, so they don't take into some old cranky guy coin shop and they're going to rip them off. Make sure they know the value and really update that book at least every 6 months. if not every quarter. You get a spreadsheet, you can change that very easily on the computer, the value of that very quickly.
Yeah. Yeah. Let me ask you a question, Chris. Speaking of silver, is this not the most beautiful thing you've ever seen in your life? I'm telling you, I am genuinely in love with this. The 10-ounce Geiger bar.
That's one of the 10-ounce bars I've been wanting to get my hands on. I just can't afford it right now. We do have some at the shop. They come in every now and then. We don't really order them, to be honest with you, but they do come in once in a late blue moon. And right now we're seeing on I think it was 2 or 3 of them now. But
Yeah.
they are nice.
And I want to mention this is part of our Valentine's Day giveaway. There's a link in the description of this video where you can enter the giveaway with very explicit instructions on how to do so. I really like the fact that this came from Pimbex, our channel sponsor, Pimbex. I don't know, do they all come wrapped in this like really nice heavy plastic, Chris?
I've seen some wrapped in that plastic on, and I've seen some out of the plastic.
This looks like it came from the factory or the refinery
that's factory sealed, yes.
Yeah, or from factory sealed, or from Germany, as a matter of fact. What does that remind you of when you got something really nice like that wrapped in plastic or rubber? Does that remind you of anything?
I'm not gonna go there with you. You're going somewhere where I don't know if you want to go there.
What are you talking about?
Never mind. It's a family show. It's a family show, Ron.
Well, no, what I was thinking of is like when you go to Aldi and they've got those nice ribeye steaks and they're in that. I don't know what you were thinking of, Chris, but let's move on. Hey, let's talk about how great the economy is. Here's the fact, Jack. The last leg of the stool holding up what the Fed is doing, holding up the U.S. economy, is employment. Any thoughts on employment, Chris?
Well, look, Citibank just announced 20,000 job cuts are on. Google just announced 10,000 job layoffs. There's 30,000 jobs right there on in a matter of a week.
Let me add a few to your list if you don't mind, Mr. Coinshop Chris. The National Football League is laying people off. The NFL, BlackRock is laying people off. Nike is laying people off. Intel is laying people off. And Twitch. Do you know what Twitch is?
I have no idea.
It's something like YouTube that gamers do. Twitch. Our friends at Twitch are laying people off as well. How can how can this economy be so great and strong? And think about it. The big companies that typically have the good, big full-time jobs, these are probably jobs, let's say are paying between $60,000 and $120,000 per year. The good, big full-time jobs are going away. And what are these people going to do? Would you rather have a $90K job at Nike, or what, all these job gains we're hearing about are like people that are doing part-time work, right? Would you rather work full-time at Nike or making $90K a year, or would you rather drive for Uber, deliver McDonald's for DoorDash, and help your neighbor with his landscaping company? I mean, I think the writing's on the wall when it comes to these employment numbers.
Well, the employment numbers, Ron, you and I talked to this many months back ago, they're fraudulent. They are, when Costco was laying off, 4 or 5 months ago, and Costco pays very, very well, Ron. We all know that. When they start laying off, and these people who used to make $21, $22 an hour have to go work at McDonald's part-time, go pick up another job at a convenience store, they count that as 2 jobs, Ron. That's not okay. That's not right. I mean, it's supposed to be 1 job, but they're counting as 2 separate, and they're counting part-time with no benefits, no insurance, no nothing.
I don't understand what you're saying. You keep saying pot time. Is that a store like Pottery Barn, or is that your New York accent?
Part-time jobs. Part-time jobs. I know my Maine accent. I know.
I thought that was a New York accent.
No, Maine accent. But anywho, they count that as 2 jobs, and it's fraudulent.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Jerome Powell, Grandma Yellen needs to get. They all need to get out of office. But how are we going to fix this, Ron? It's too late, I think. The dollar is done for. It's game over. We're going to a reset very soon. When? Nobody knows. We're going to wake up on either after a holiday weekend, Ron, or Monday morning, and everything will be changed.
Yeah, well, it seems like you bring up a great point, because if I think back to like the tech bubble and even the real estate mortgage whatever bubble before the great financial crisis, I was in the business world during both of those, and like during the tech bubble, and I worked in the tech field. It's like everything was great and fine. I mean, it really was, and then all of a sudden, boom, it wasn't, right? Like everything was hunky dory and everybody's making all this money, and then boom, it just suddenly happened. The same thing happened during the great financial crisis. It's like everything's great, and then all of a sudden you can wake up and be like, wow, everything changed, and changed very quickly.
And that's what it's going to, if we thought, for the people who can remember the financial crisis back in 08 through 2011, and people forgot because it didn't affect the mainstream people. They didn't have stocks, or anything like that, but people lost their homes, Ron.
Yep.
And the people that did happen to remember that. The people who don't really remember what actually happened. There are movies out there for people to watch. And I would really look up these 2008 movies, the financial crisis. Now I'm lost for words now, but there are a couple movies out there that will tell you exactly what happened and put in great detail of what happened. And maybe that will help your viewers out some more, Ron.
Yep. What about you did some shopping this week for American Silver Eagles? Is that correct, Chris?
I shop every week for you and for your viewers, Ron. We do this every single week. I'm happy to do it. 2024 Eagles are out. They're ready to ship. I actually got two different deals. I got rolls and monster boxes. I'll cover the rolls first with you, Ron. Tube of 2024 Silver Eagles at Money Metals. And these prices were taken 1/12/24, about 5:45 p.m. So the roll of Money Metals was 607.20 for full tube of 20. JM Bullion was 617.60. AtMax was 618 even. And our sponsor Pinbacks was 569.20. Save $48.80 from the most expensive, which was AtMax. $48.80, Ron. Cheaper.
So from the most expensive to the least expensive for one tube of 20 American Silver Eagles, the highest price was $48 for the exact same tube of Eagles. The highest price was $48 higher than what you could get it for at Pembex. Pembex wins again.
Pembex wins again. Now we go to the monster boxes, and if you're not sitting down, everybody, please sit down for this one. Monster boxes.
And how many coins are in a monster box?
Just 500 ounces on.
Okay.
So Money Metals came in at $14,680. JM Bullion came in at $14,940. Pembex came in at $14,950. Sponsor Pembex came in at $13,780. Take the highest to the lowest. That is $1,170 savings. Let me repeat that again. $1,170.
And how much were the rolls are the tubes of Eagles at Pembex again?
$569.20.
So if my mathematics are correct, if you're buying an entire monster box of American Silver Eagles, you can, if you buy it at Pembex, you can get the same monster box, and an additional 2 tubes, 40 coins total, with the savings that you would get over buying it from the most expensive competitor. Is that accurate, Chris?
That's about accurate, Ron. 40 ounces. So why would you want to go buy at Max, JM, really, even Money Metals? I mean, where you get more metal for your money, and you gain extra 43 ounces on top of it.
Yeah.
the same place. Hello.
Yep.
I mean, that's crazy. This is why we do this. This is not to knock these other companies out to your viewers. This is to prove a point. You have to shop around.
Yeah, you got to shop around. Even if you're buying anytime, anywhere, shop around, right? Compare prices. I did that a long time ago. I found that Pimbex was ultra competitive on all the products. And I trust Pimbex, but so that's what I recommend to our viewers is, do your own due diligence. You're going to have your own experience. I can tell you that I have received nothing but positive feedback from Ron's basement dwellers regarding their experiences with Pimbex. Chris, who do you like best, JP or JD?
I don't know who those two people are.
Jerome Powell or Jamie Dimon?
Neither
Who do
are.
you, huh?
Now, if you ask me if you put both of those yahoos in a ring and let them fight it out, I'm not sure
Yeah.
which one would win. I would not bet on that one.
Let's talk about JP Morgan Chase briefly. This is astonishing to me. They reported $50 billion in annual profit for 2023. $50 billion. This is the same JP Morgan who's been accused and convicted of manipulating the precious metals prices. But what's crazy about 50 is the biggest profit ever in the history of the banking industry. If you think about this, the entire market cap, the entire value of the entire silver mining sector is 17 billion, maybe even a little bit less. Basically, JP Morgan last year made 3 times as much money profit in 1 year as the entire value, 3 times as the entire value of the entire silver mining sector. Is that just mind blowing or what?
That is mind boggling. Ron, I don't like banks. I think most of you viewers know that about me. I don't like banks, but we have to deal with banks. All these fees that come over the last 15 years plus, what the heck is a $7.49 maintenance fee that Bank of America
Right.
charges? I mean, it's fees on top of fees. Oh, if you get overdrawn just a little bit, we're gonna hit you with a $40 overdrawn fee. I mean, it's crazy, Ron. The
Yep.
banks have
Yep.
no compassion. All they care about, they don't care about you. The banks are not your friends. I'm sorry. Banks are not
But the
your
car
friends.
salesmen at car dealerships are.
No, they're not your friends either. I mean, you have to spend your money wisely, and some people don't have balance in checkbooks, some people do, but even I have had one overdrawn fee in my life, Ron, and I was able to get that back. But
Good.
you're allowed to have one overdraft fee a year, and they will give it back to you if you pick up the phone and call them. Not
That's great
financial advice,
advice.
just some
That's great.
advice.
That's great advice. The other crazy thing regarding that $50 billion profit is that happened during a year where we had more bank failures from a dollar level than we had during the worst year of the great financial crisis. It doesn't make any sense. I mean, how can we have a banking crisis and then our biggest bank makes more profit? I mean, come on, give me a break. Anyhow, let's talk about the 30-day numbers. Chris,
Well,
let's
I'm
see
going to
what's
answer that
happened.
question. I'm going to answer that question first, because our government lend these banks the money, and they invested it, and they make billions. That's how
Yeah,
they took it away from the taxpayers. They took it
yeah.
away from you and your viewers and me. So let's get on to the 30-day numbers.
They
Sorry,
printed money.
yeah, printed unicorn front dust.
Well, they did that.
Um,
Let's just let me make one more quick point on that. They initiated an emergency program called the B Bank Term Funding Program, BTFP, to help bail the banks out, basically, to keep any more, because they were, in banks that were insolvent. That program is scheduled to end on March 11th, which is now just 2 short months away, right? And yeah, 2 months away, 2024, just so you remember the year we're in. And the Wall Street Journal reported that the head regulator for the Fed basically came out last week and heavily insinuated that they were going to terminate that program. So it'll be interesting to see how the banks do when their little crutch is taken away.
Well, let's see if they end the program first, Ron.
Right, right.
So anyways, I could say more, I will say this, Ron, if you and I went to the casino, if you and I went to Vegas and we each lost $2,000 and we didn't have that money to lose, are we going to be able to call the federal government up and say, hey, Jerome, hey, Grandma, you yelling? I lost $2,000 at Vegas. Can I get my money back, please? That won't happen, Ron, but the banks can do it.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, and then get a bigger bonus on top of it. What happened in the last 30 days, Mr. Chris?
Silver was actually up, believe it or not, up 34 cents or up 1.49%. Gold was up $60.40 or up 3.03%. Platinum took a little bit of a hit the last 30 days, Ron. It was down $14.40 or down 1.55%. Bitcoin is up, but not as up as it was the last couple of weeks we talked about it, Ron. It was up 897.08 or up 2.16%. Oil, I've been ramping on oil for weeks now with you, Ron. Oil is finally up $4.15 a barrel or up 6.05%. Something to keep your eyes on, everybody. It's oil. Oil runs everything. Silver to gold ratio is 87.91.
Which demonstrates how undervalued silver is, that it would take you almost 90 ounces of silver to acquire just one measly ounce of gold.
That's crazy. That's, I mean, we've seen the ratio higher than this, Ron, but I'm not touching gold right now. I'm not telling anybody what to do, but me personally, I'm all silver right now.
Yeah. I've always been more of a silver guy myself, although I do own way too many shares of gold mining stocks. Chris, I want to say thank you on behalf of myself, this viewer, this basement dweller who joined us today, right? Again, the most important person here. CoinShop Chris does this out of the kindness of his heart. If you want to help support CoinShop Chris, because he has a nasty habit of eating sometimes as many as 6 or 7 ding dongs per day, there's a link to his PayPal in the description of this and every video. Don't forget to enter the Valentine's Day giveaway, where we'll be giving away this 10-ounce Geiger silver bar, but we've got 13 more ounces of silver included in there as well, and there might even be more by Valentine's Day. And Chris, what did I forget?
You didn't forget anything. I just like to thank your viewers for all the support they've given you, given me. And just please subscribe. We're going to be doing more giveaways this year. That's the best way to enter these giveaways. You got to be subscribed. So if you're not, pass this, share this out to other people. Let's wake up more people about silver and gold. And we will see you next week, Ron.
Sounds great, Chris. Thank you, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you. See you soon.